Hey cookmates, welcome back to my cookhouse. My name is Abby and today I'm back with another exciting recipe. I'm going to be showing you how I make the authentic Nigerian party jollof. I shared this recipe a while back on my Instagram. Go follow if you're not following. It's Abby's Cookhouse as well. I shared this recipe a while back and everyone loved it, and I got a lot of people retrying it out and all the feedbacks were positive. So I'm excited to finally be sharing the recipe with my YouTube fam. Okay. I'm going to be sharing all my tips and tricks on how I achieved the perfect jollof, perfect texture, perfect taste, perfect everything. So if you're struggling with jollof rice or you just want to get better, this is the perfect, I've said perfect like 100 times now. This is the perfect place for you. So just sit back, relax and enjoy. So first off, we're going to be starting off with our pepper mix for our jollof rice. In here I have some red bell peppers, some tomatoes, onions, as well as habanero pepper. Now you do not have to use habanero pepper. You could use any other hot chili pepper variant that you have, but I chose to use habanero, and you could totally skip it if you're not a pepper person. But I mean, what's a jollof rice without pepper? Now I've just gone ahead to deseed my bell peppers, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to a blender and start blending. Now if you notice, I'm not adding any water to my pepper. That's because I'm going to be boiling it anyway to get rid of some of the liquid content. So if you have a strong blender, go ahead and blend without adding any water, but if you do not have a strong blender, just add a little bit of water. So now I'm just going to go ahead and boil my pepper mix, 1 to get rid of the sour taste and 2 to reduce its liquid content. Now with jollof rice, I always like to boil off as much liquid as I can because honestly I feel like it's one of the secrets to the way my jollof rice always comes out. Every time I've been in a hurry and maybe not boil down the liquid as much as I would have liked to, it still comes out great, it's still tasty and everything, but I always feel like it could have been better. So I advise you, do not skip this step. It's not tasking or anything, it just means you boil your liquid or boil your pepper, a little bit longer than you normally would. So definitely try this out and let me know in the comment section if you feel like this made a difference to your jollof. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add some vegetable oil to my pot, and to that I'm going to be adding some onions as well as all the spices I'm going to be using in this recipe. The spices are curry powder, thyme, rosemary, white pepper and some nutmeg. All the ingredients with their measurements are in the description box, so definitely check that out. I typically will add in some bay leaves at this point, but I forgot, so definitely throw in 3 to 4 bay leaves if you have some. Now with jollof rice, I always avoid using a non-stick pot because as we all know, jollof rice burns, and once this burning happens in a non-stick pot, mixing your jollof rice just becomes difficult because the bottom part, which has burnt, now starts to lift with the actual rice in the pot as you try to mix, and it just becomes a whole mess. So I'll advise you, do not use a non-stick pot when making your jollof rice. So now I'm going to fry my onions and spices together until they become fragrant and the onions become slightly caramelized, and by that I mean the onions are going to start to burn just a little bit. Doing this takes your jollof rice to a whole different level. The spices release their aroma and flavor into the oil, and it just makes your dish taste so good. So now I've just added some tomato paste and I'm going to be frying that in the oil for 5 to 7 minutes. The tomato paste tends to burn up easily, so you want to make sure you're stirring it from time to time. Before I forget, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the gang. Once you're done frying, your tomato paste should no longer be clumped up and should be separated finely, just like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and add our boiled down pepper mix. I got about 3 cups of pepper after boiling. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good mix so the pepper is evenly combined with the other contents of the pot. So now I'm going to be adding some seasoning cubes, some all-purpose seasoning, as well as some salt. I'm going to go ahead and give all of that a good mix and cover the pot to simmer for about 5 minutes. The jollof base has been cooking for about 5 minutes and is now properly fried. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add all of the liquid we're going to be using in this recipe. So I've just added some chicken stock and I'm also going to be adding some water as well. I'm going to give that a good mix, cover it up and bring the mixture to a boil. Now you might be wondering how to figure out the amount of liquid you're going to be using in your jollof. Well, a trick I've found to always work is using a 1-to-1 liquid to rice ratio, and by that I mean if I'm cooking 8 cups of rice like I am doing in this recipe, I'm going to use 8 cups of liquid to cook the jollof rice. And the 8 cups of liquid could comprise of more stock and less water, or less stock and more water. I just need to make sure I compensate for that in the amount of seasoning I add to my jollof base, since the stock is going to contain seasoning as well. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add our washed and drained rice. I like to drain my rice completely after washing it to prevent addition of excess liquid to our jollof base. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a good mix and bring it to a boil. Okay, so I feel like this is the point where a lot of people start to struggle with jollof rice. So jollof rice requires steam and not high heat to cook, which means we're going to be cooking our jollof rice on low heat. High heat simply means the water drying up too quickly and then the rice starts to burn excessively, and then you'll be tempted to add more water, which will ultimately draw from the flavor of the jollof rice and could even make it soggy, and you know how that goes. So we're going to be cooking our rice on low heat, but because we want the jollof rice to not be soggy, we have to get our mixture to its boiling point first before we then reduce the heat. Okay, I feel like the chemical engineering in me just jumped out, but you get the gist. So we're going to get the mixture to its boiling point first, then we're going to cover it up and reduce the heat. That way we've built the steam that the rice needs to get going and to cook, and our rice is not just cooking in cold liquid. Wow, that was a mouthful. Okay, so our rice has been steaming for about 35 to 40 minutes on low heat, of course. So now I'm just going to go ahead and open up the rice and add some onions to it. This step is completely optional if you do not like onions. I'm going to go ahead and fluff up the rice and give it a good mix. I apologize for how grainy this clip looks. I didn't realize my camera was on slow motion, and when I tried to speed it up, it came out looking grainy like this. Now our rice is fully cooked, so I'm just going to go ahead and increase the heat to high heat and cover it up and let it burn for that smoky flavor for about 5 minutes. Now that our rice has finished cooking on high heat for about 5 minutes, we're just going to fluff that up. Wow, look at all that smoky goodness. I'll be doing you a disservice, my friends, if I do not show you an up-close view of this beauty. I mean, look at the jollof now. Look at the color. Color is perfect. The flavor is amazing. The smell is divine. The grains are well separated. Texture is perfect. I mean, what else do you want from a jollof rice? Follow this recipe step by step, and I assure you your jollof game is going to go to 100. At this point, as you can probably tell, the jollof rice was already calling me by my first name plus my last name. So I answered the call. I picked up a serving spoon and gave it a taste. And when I tell you, it tasted so good. So this is a recipe you definitely want to try. Oh, also, I have a question for you. I've been hearing that it is an offense to use fork to eat rice, that you're supposed to use spoon to bail and shovel the rice. What do you guys use to eat your rice? Do you use a fork or a spoon? Anyway, now I'm just dishing out my jollof rice and I'm going to be enjoying it with some plantain, aka almighty dodo, and some grilled chicken. If you've not subscribed to my channel, come on, you watched up to this point, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content like this. Thank you so much for watching, cookmates. I really do hope you try out this recipe, and I'll see you in my other videos. Bye.
So yummy.